What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Sports Group Podcast. As we're here with a very special guest. Obviously, I know him as Omorede, but a lot of people know him as the Big O, uh, number 42. If you guys were here last year, played on senior. What's going on, O?
What's going on, everybody? How are you feeling, Javi?
I'm great, man. I'm glad to have you here. Obviously, your resume just speaks for itself. Working under Coach Clues, we'll obviously get to that a little later. Working with Coach Patino, winning more than one MAC championship, and then now being the GA for the women's team. Kind of, glad you came from a kid from the Bronx, St. Ray's to all the way to Iona and do all this. So obviously, we're gonna get straight into it. Why did you pick Iona out of every school? What stood out to you from Iona?
So why Iona? For me personally, I just chose Iona because I wanted to go to a school that was close to home because I'm a homebody, like I love them. And my mom would have killed me if I went anywhere else. But to be honest, it was more so it was convenient, it was close, small school, and on top of that, basketball was like one of the marquee things that stood out for me here as well. On top of the education. And Coach Joe Emilio, one of my assistant coaches at St. Raymond's, me and him had a talk, and I was debating between here, Hofstra, or St. John's. He gave me the realism of either if I go to St. John's, I may not be traveling as a manager because that's a Power Five school, and you may not even make the tournament. Where you go to Iona, learn from Coach Tim Clues, one of the best coaches in the metropolitan area, and yeah, and I was fortunate enough to come in, and it was part of the three-peat time. So,
No, yeah, Iona was definitely. I remember when I chose between them, a little bit Quinnipiac and a couple other schools, but I definitely looked at Coach Cluz's resume and seen how much they won and always going to the MAC tournament to win it, and it just kind of was one of the reasons I also picked. And then obviously I knew you was here, so I was like, I get to know someone who's already working there and know the ins and outs and stuff. So obviously with you being with the men's for so many years, and now you being the GA of the women's, what was the transition like? What felt different from going from one team to the other?
the one major thing I would say is different is just like you're gelling with different people, um, and obviously like I was close with the men's team as well as the coaching staff, so I'm getting a feel for people I never met before. A lot of people from different countries, so you get to experience that and even get to know their traditions. So that's a pretty cool experience. I'm grateful I made that decision. I feel like it was one of the best things for my career.
Hold on, I'm definitely obviously happy for you. Obviously switching and having a higher role, but what was one thing you kind of was mentioning this a little bit before in terms of even play styles? Like, what was so different when you transitioned? Was there something that stood out to you? And even obviously the workload changes, but what was some of those changes for you?
Um, the one thing that the play style difference is like we're a Princeton offense. With Coach P, he's a run and gun press offense, while also like we're just running and gunning, literally with Coach P. And what's that to me, like I never really understood Princeton offense. Like we would just play these Ivy League teams, and I never really fully understood the concept of their offense and what they run. And with our team, like seeing from Coach Chambers is a phenomenal coach, and the staff works really hard. So just like being around them, picking up on the X's and O's from them because they work very hard, watch thousands of hours of film,
Mhm.
and just to prep these girls to compete at a high level. It's just so like amazing to me.
So obviously, when you work in both coaches, what would you say are some similarities and differences, whether it's them in practice or games or maybe their attitude or you don't have to get so specific in how, because I know with Coach P, he presses a lot more than Coach Chambers, but what were some similarities and differences you noticed in their games?
Um, One major similarity I would say is just more so like their game preparation is very similar. Another thing I would say, like one a difference that between Coach P and Coach Chambers is like we come in every day, we do what we gotta do, and it's like I would say a not too intense environment, but like you gotta come in and do your business. Like you're in here to work. And that's the one thing I would say, like between Coach Chambers and Coach P, like they want the best out of you each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like it's just so like mind blowing. It's like wow, like me going to the other side. It's so similar.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, Coach Chambers, you have a lot. Like you have a lot of fun.
yeah,
I did with Coach P. 1000% had a lot of fun with him. But it's just like,
a different type of
yeah,
kind of vibe. Yeah, I worked with Coach Chambers my sophomore year, and then obviously coming back to the men's junior, and then this year senior year with them. And I do see some similarities and differences. Obviously, with one, you could look at Coach P as kind of a intense kind of guy. If a lot of people who watch basketball want to compare Coach Tibbs to Coach Steve Kerr, that's kind of a comparison I could look at because Coach Kerr gets the most out of his players, but
mhm,
is I don't want to say more understanding, but you can see kind of a little laid back kind of vibe, like someone who won't hound you down 24/7, which obviously Coach P is very, demanding, and he loves to be a perfectionist, which is really great because it kind of up, your standards go high because you want to reach that expectation, which is great. So that's one. And then of course I know Coach Chambers picked up a lot on Coach P. Actually, I remember seeing her have a lot of conversations, adding in a few different individual things, and like even Indies itself. I remember she kind of started doing the 65 drill. So I think it was great to have Coach P here because they feed off of each other kind of when they pick each other's brain. But you obviously got the courage. Not, I don't want to use the word courage. You got the honor to work with Coach Clues for a season. What were some, I want to say, similarities and differences you picked up from him to Coach P and even Coach Chambers too?
oh wow. So with Coach Clues, even though I had him for 1 year, so I really didn't get a full grasp of what it was like with Clues, but like with Coach Clues, like love that guy, love Coach Clues to death. Like
Amazing person.
I talk to him to this day,
Mm-hmm.
and he even texted me. He said like, keep on killing it. Like tell Coach I said hello. Like, but Coach Clues is just an amazing person. Um, but on the court, like all the coaches I worked with had the same intensity,
Mm-hmm.
and they just want the best out of you each and every time you're on the court. Like Coach Clues, 12, 4, and 7. His motto was 12 months out the year, 4 hours out the week, 4 hours out the week, and then 7 days out the week. So you're basically going at it like every day
Mm-hmm.
at the highest level. Coach Clues, passion, hungry, driven, same thing. And then to Coach Chambers, mine on too is like you're doing whatever you can possibly, whether it's like cutting out like your extracurricular activities to just like come in, do what you gotta do, but not affecting your schoolwork, just doing what you have to do just so we can do what it takes to have us achieve our goal. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the one thing I learned from all three of the coaches.
Yeah, I think with obviously you had the honor to be with Coach Clues for a full season, and then the other season was probably like a few months before he got sick. I was able to be with him just for that small time period. And even when he was there, you could see the huge difference of how he ran practices. A lot of it was fast breaks,
Mm-hmm.
shooting threes,
Mm-hmm.
and I know with Coach P, he likes to. I don't want to say slow things down because he definitely is very. When you see him coach in game, everything is press, everything is fast,
Mm-hmm.
but he loves to kind of just do a lot of uh more breaking down the plays kind
Mm-hmm.
of. So like
Yeah.
it would be a lot of stopping the plays to correct, and then of course with still go at a fast pace. So it's kind of great. But with Coach Chambers, I remember it's kind of similar a little bit to Coach P, how he is now. Um, but I think the only person I've ever seen kind of straight running is Coach Clues. Like he would go back and
Mm-hmm.
forth, just to kind of work on a lot of conditioning and a lot of fast paced things. So I think with all three of them being great coaches, it's kind of again you learn so much from each one. It's good to always be with different coaches so you could pick up different things instead of being with a lot of similar type of styles.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you have the privilege to do all three. And with you being a GA, what are your kind of goals slash expectations for you after? Are you going to do another GA next year, or do you think you might look for a specific type of job? Like, what's the kind of end goal?
I would say at this very moment, I am coming back for a second season with the women's program.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I Coach Chambers and me had the agreement, I would be their GA for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much like she's gonna help me get to what I want to be, which is a director of operations, and that's my overall goal. And just like coming in, like I was a manager for 4 seasons. I never really understood the full grasp of what it is to get into coaching.
Mm,
Like Coach Clues literally told me it's like it's one of the most stressful things ever. And like seeing it from the GA perspective, it is pretty stressful.
yeah, it's a lot of work with it.
A lot of work. But I love seeing like the player developments from all three of the coaches is so totally different.
Mm,
Also to mention this, I don't know if you noticed this, Coach Clues actually changed the shot clock time.
what do you mean?
Like for practice. Like you know how it's 30-second shot clock time?
Yeah.
Like with Coach P he did 24. I think with Clues it was roughly the same thing.
Okay.
So it
So you
was
did yeah, because you wanted to get fast, kind of
yeah, the
like a
fast paced
little.
offense, yeah.
Yeah, you could look like, I don't want to say Steve Nash because I know he did 7 seconds or less, but something like less on the time. I definitely get
Yeah.
that. That's
So
cool. I didn't even know that. To be honest.
yeah, so that was like an unsurreal thing. So I was like, I'm a fan of the up and down like transition, pushing the ball.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Um, and obviously with you having the legendary nickname Big O, a lot of people who were here last year saw you play on senior night. Kind of talk to me and walk through me through that night. Even a little bit before, when did you know, okay, I'm playing this game? How did you find out? And then talk to me about that exact day, like everything that went through.
so we had player development. It was a Tuesday. We had player development, and our guards were starting up their individuals because we do individuals every morning.
Hmm.
So I thought Coach P was joking when he said because he asked me what grade I was in, and I told him I said I was a senior.
Hmm.
So he literally comes out and says, "Oh, we're gonna have you dress." So and I was like, "Okay." I thought he was just joking. Didn't take it seriously. So I was like, "Yeah, coach, sure." Then next thing you know, we have another group come in, which is our following. I believe it was our wings that came in, the
Hmm.
wings group.
Hmm.
So then during the wings group, he said it again. He was like, "Hey, oh, we're gonna have you play on senior day." And I was like, because he asked me, he said, "Were your grades in order?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Alrighty, you're gonna play on senior day." And I was like, "Oh."
So
So
you didn't even mention it to him. It was him that mentioned it to you.
yes.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So it was just like, wow. So then right after that, once that ended, next thing you know, Coach Johns gives me a call, tells me to come to his office and go see him. And I had to go meet with Jamie, who's one of our student affairs associate ADs.
Hmm.
And she helped me get my paperwork in order and everything. And then I got clearance by the NCAA. It was a crazy 48 hours because we had to play Manhattan on Thursday, and then I
Hmm.
left no time for anything on Friday.
Hmm.
So it was a pretty unsurreal moment. Like wow, like Coach P really wanted to play me when I actually thought it was a joke. I didn't take it seriously.
So like when that happened, talk to me again a little bit about the pregame feel from you. Like I'm pretty sure maybe not, you were nervous or I was beating to the moment where he kind of told you like, oh, because I know he didn't sub you in immediately. I think he sat you in his chair like right before and then he subbed you. Like talk to me about that. Like how was, you feeling during that moment?
During that moment, I'm be honest, like I was so nervous that whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like as a manager, you know how we rebound during
Mm-hmm.
shoot around, right?
Yeah.
Coach P told me not, he said, no, don't go rebound, go with the guards and get your shots up. And I was like, oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So then like from there, next thing you know, I was like, wow. So I made a few threes, you know. I'm not even a shooter like that, but I made a few threes. The guys were like, oh, okay, oh,
I do remember seeing one or two go in because I was obviously busy walking around. I was like, oh, I might be feeling it tonight.
yeah. So I was feeling it at that moment, but then we got through shoot around, we prepped it, and then like after that, we had team breakfast, grab and go, and then we came back, and then reality started to set in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh wow, like this is really about to happen right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dylan Van Eyck was making so many jokes, saying like, "Oh, I'm be honest with you, like when you get on that court, all eyes are on you. They're not gonna be on the guys. It's gonna be all on you."
No, he
And
was definitely right.
yeah, and it was a sold out game too, so I was pretty nervous. But going into like that last 2 minute stretch, like Coach P came down the bench, and Coach P is such a vet at this. He knows when the cameras is not on him.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys were on defense on the other end. Coach P comes down the bench and comes to me and says, he says, "All right, oh, get ready. because you're gonna go in. I'm gonna tell you what to do. Stay corner and be ready to shoot.
Mhm.
Literally what he told me. And then like a minute 45 happens. He comes at the end of the bench and like he subs the starters in. Starters go in, and then the crowd is saying
I
we want
remember
O, and they got very intense. So I was like, oh my god, I'm looking to my left. I see the cheerleaders like so close to me. I was like, man, all right. So and it was also a wholesome moment. Like my whole family was there, so they heard everybody saying we want O. And like literally, like Coach P came and got me, told me to sit in the chair, sat in the chair. I see Coach Casey to my right, and then Coach Tom. I see the whole coaching staff just hype. B. Irv and Jeff were telling me to breathe because I was like so tense. I was like, yo, this is really about to happen.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, Coach P says, all right, Big O, let's go. And then ran to the table. Whole crowd went crazy. And then like I remember I think somebody on Quinnipiac missed a shot, and then I believe E got the rebound, coach, and then E called the timeout, and then I got subbed in. And once that happened, I didn't breathe for that whole minute and 15 seconds.
That's crazy. You remember the exact time too.
Yeah, no, a minute 11, because it's triple ones,
Hmm. And
angel numbers.
and I don't really fully recall. I know you took two shots. The second one though, I don't fully recall. Did Coach P call a timeout to draw a play for that one, or was that kind of just freelance? I don't remember if he drew a play with you.
He didn't draw up a play. It was more so Walter felt like he told me this. He said he felt like that I didn't get the right opportunity because I did a step back,
Hmm.
and he's a real one because he said I'm not gonna let O go out like that. So he told Josh, throw me the ball. I'm gonna hit O, and then O is just gonna shoot it.
Hmm.
And literally, because I didn't know this. I just all I know is Ryan told me he said lift up O, and I was a
Hmm.
little bit above half.
Hmm.
So he literally passed it to me. I was like, I gotta shoot it. My basketball
Yeah.
instincts kicked in, like I have to shoot it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that he passed it to me, and then I was like, it had to go up, and then it was so close, but God had other plans.
No, yeah. The last shot I remember was we all thought it almost went. I think it was basically if you made it, it would have been a buzzer beater. I think
Yeah, it should have
from
been
what
a
I
buzzer
recall,
beater.
the entire crowd, like it felt like everyone held their breaths, was watching it, kind of like the Aaron Judge home run chase, like every at bat. It felt just like that,
Hmm.
and then it went up, and I don't even remember hearing the sound. Like we were just shocked, and then obviously it didn't go in, but that felt like it was gonna like go in. That was like a good looking shot, but obviously that was a
I actually
big
thought I
game.
made it. I was like, I purposely said I'm banking this shot in
Hmm.
because I'd rather that than an air ball. I'm
Yeah, and I
not
think
airballing
it hit
twice.
glass. I'm pretty sure it hit the front
It
rim,
rimmed
and
off the front of the
yeah,
rim. I was like, oh,
yeah. No, it looked good. Obviously, it obviously hit the bank, so you thought it would have went in, and then it just tough luck. But obviously, that was a big night for you. I remember that. I want to say Barstool. It was like not even Iona Barstool,
hmm
like a Barstool account posted the jersey big old 42 hanging up. I'll never forget that week. Obviously with senior night approaching with you guys this Saturday, and then the men's next Thursday. Obviously speaking on that, what would you say were some of the challenges coming into the season? Obviously with being the GA of the women's, and do you feel that whether it's you or you guys accomplished that so far?
I feel like the biggest thing for us was trying to make a statement this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because as we know, like the women's program hasn't been solid in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like one of our biggest things was like this is really a statement year. Like we had a down year for probably the last 6 7 years, and we're trying to achieve something bigger than that, and to where it's like now programs will respect us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty much like wow, like like I would say honestly, we haven't achieved yet what we want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
What we want to achieve right now is to win the MAC tournament. That is like our biggest goal, mine on two. That's been our thing since day one, since we started in the summer.
Yeah.
Mine on two. So coming in, like we nobody knew each other, like besides like the returners. We had like roughly, I think, believe 5 6 returners.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong, but so it
Good
was a
estimate.
yeah, a good estimate, yeah. And then it was just a matter of everybody getting together, gelling. So over the summer, like everybody was sporadically coming in because some people who lived in Spain weren't here. Some people like from the Republic of Georgia, like Nat. She
Mm,
didn't come here until like late, like the last week in August, because she was like sick and everything. So
mm,
yeah, it was just a matter of like the adjustment was like, all right, we all have this mindset and we're gonna do everything to the slightest detail to make sure we do what we gotta do every game. And obviously we started off very like in the slow stretch where it's like we were like 5 in,
mm.
and to like now we're doing our thing.
Yeah, you guys like flip the switch, and I just kind of want to freelance a quick question on that. From your point of view, what did you think kind of flipped the switch? Because I remember, like you said, it was kind of, five even, and then just a streak. Like, what do you think personally?
Everyone,
Flicked it.
in my opinion, everyone bought into their role.
Mm,
I feel like that's the biggest thing. And the captains, Wani and Kets, keep everything in check. Everything. And shout out to them. Like they come in every day, they work hard, and they set the tone for practice each day. And the minute like something's not right, one of them will address it. So
that's really huge. Obviously, having leadership coming from them, and them again, them being returners, so they're great players. And
mhm.
I remember you might have mentioned this a while back. I think when you was with us, and I don't know if you remember this. I think you kind of didn't say a promise, but you mentioned that you switching from the men's to the women's, it was going to change a culture, and they were going to kind of turn around. And I think a lot of the man just kind of looked at you like, there's no way that is that quick of a turnaround. Obviously, with you being there and like you got it done. And I
Not yet,
remember.
not yet, not yet.
Well, no, yeah, I 100% agree with you. Obviously, like Kobe said, job not finished. So, but like in terms of the regular season, they haven't had one like this, for a while. And of course, with playoffs coming soon, is there? I don't want to say anything, but any team that possibly kind of worried about? Like, is there one team? Is it kind of the whole conference, or maybe yourself? Like, what do you say on that?
I'm honestly gonna just be honest. We gotta take it one game at a time.
Mm-hmm,
And that's just I feel like the biggest thing because as we were last year, like we had our mindset like, yo, we're gonna blow through the MAC. We were 17-3,
mm-hmm,
and you can't have that mindset. You're gonna wash the MAC because
mm-hmm,
that's when stuff happens, and that's when like how last year we lost to Ryder.
mm-hmm,
So I feel like the girls aren't cocky. The girls just come in, do what they gotta do, and just we're a very positive program.
mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that's very I realize they're all positive. Nobody like you mess up one play, they come together. They say, "Hey, pick your head up." Like
Mm-hmm.
if you notice, Coach Chambers says after every time I got your back, and then we all clap as a unit because like, hey, we got you. Like, don't panic.
Mm-hmm.
We're here for each other, and that's something that's just like wow. Like it's a family. Like
Yeah.
not saying with the men's team isn't family. Like that's family, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more so like wow, like nurturing. Like somebody
Yeah.
somebody has your back.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And I feel that last year kind of if you ask I feel like even if I asked you or asked anybody the question, what was the one team worried about, I would have said ourselves with the
Yeah.
men's last year. I never was worried about any other team. Because I always knew some of our weaknesses were kind of free throw shooting and rebounding, and that's actually how we lost. So
Hmm.
I always said last year we were our own weakness or the only team to be worried about, and that's how it kind of ended. And with this year, at least with the men's, I would say there's a lot of teams. It's so different the MAC this year from last year for the men's side that you wouldn't know who would surprise you. So I wouldn't say a specific team, but just like you said, one game at a time. Um, I think that's really key. And of course, I'm really hoping for you guys to not only go far but win it all. Because again, with you winning more than one championship with the men's, hopefully we could get there with the women's. And since you've been here for 5 years, this might be a little tough question. Who would you say has been your favorite player? I don't want. I might do one of all time of your 5 years, but for right now, we'll do each season since you've been here.
Each season. Oh man.
If you want, we could start backwards from like now to your freshman year, because for the recency, kind of.
Um, I love all my players equally, but
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I love a lot of the men's players too, but hey, there's some people you hang out more with, or like you just connect and bond with. Because I remember my freshman year, it was Michael Ortega, and then
oh
obviously
yeah.
he left, so EJ kind of took that spot. And
Hmm.
with EJ, I wasn't even trying to kind of be too close to him. I think he kind of just grew onto me,
Hmm.
and that was one of them. Of course, Parker I've known for all 4 years. Remember my sophomore year? was definitely Juana and Lou.
Hmm.
Those are two I connected with, and then when Ketsia came, she was one of them. I know last year was Tyson Jolly. I kind of just out of nowhere just connected with him. He was probably one of the nicest guys. And this year I want to say I definitely am very close with DJ and kind of Bub. Those are the main two. But like you said, it's kind of everyone. But you have those few players kind of. So who would you say are yours? It might be
Um,
more than one, maybe.
I'm gonna be honest. Like this year, I would say it's probably like four.
Hmm.
So on this team, I would say Ketsia, Kika, Izzy, and Wani.
Okay, cool.
Those are my four right there for this year.
Hmm.
Dylan, all the years that I was with him, he's in that mix. So if I don't say your name in any of these, Dylan, don't be mad. Um, I would say Dylan, Tyson, um, obviously E Boogie, James, and then my junior year, obviously um, Barrick. Wait, actually, add Quinn to that list
Oh,
of
Quinn,
yeah,
yeah.
of my last year. Add Quinn
Mm-hmm.
to that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Barrick. Obviously, I said Dylan, Zay Ross. I was close with since my first day stepping on this campus.
Jay Ross is a real one. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm pretty sure you was on this. You was well. We was on every trip. Your sophomore year, my freshman year. We went to St. Francis Prep. This was Coach Clue's first and only game that he coached with me, which was
Hmm.
a preseason game. Then we were crossing the street. We were in the city. I don't know if you remember this. And we for some I don't remember why we actually brought the cart of water jug, right?
Yeah.
And we had to cross the street in Manhattan, which you know how kind of crazy and hectic it gets.
Yeah.
And the light was green for cars to go, and everyone already crossed the street except for me. At the time, we had Dennis Bujan and Zay Ross, and I remember he stopped the entire traffic just for us to pass. He was the only one who waited back for us, and ever since that day, I was like, Zay Ross is a real one for that. But yeah, I see why Zay Ross,
Yeah.
great guy, man.
Zay Ross. My 3 years with him, he's obviously up there. Um, I would say obviously EJ, Tawan, Ricky McGill. Like Ricky McGill and EJ, like nobody knows the story. Like my very first day when
Mm,
I started here, was over the summer, and it was like their last summer workout.
mm.
And I met Ricky and EJ. They told me to hop in the drill. I looked at them like they were crazy. And like ever since that day, I met J Max as well. J
Mm,
Max, like we all three clicked like right away.
mm.
So it was just like unsurreal. Like wow, like
That drill was it? You playing defense, you on offense with them? Like how? What was?
they
You
were just
remember
doing
that?
driving kick on the gun.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, that's what we used to do every time during the summer. Was driving kick on the gun.
So they made you drive and kick to shoot
No,
also.
I didn't get in the drill. I didn't get in
Oh,
the
okay,
drill.
okay,
They wanted
okay.
me to shoot, and I was like, "Whoa!" And then Coach Ian looked at me, he said, "Yeah." He was like, "Yo, come over here. Don't be scared." And I was
That's
like,
funny.
"Oh, I was ready."
No, that's I didn't know that. I know that you mentioned like a few of the times you kind of were with them in the summer. I didn't get to meet Ricky. I think I only met him kind of briefly selection Sunday. You introduced me to him, just kind of like a hi and all that. But my final question and kind of well more of a question than a statement. With you being a GA, what was it like a transition work wise? Like what for some people who want to be a GA, I guess growing up or like eventually obviously like you said get to a director of basketball operation they have to be a GA, let's say. What's something that you kind of could give them a word of advice they maybe do every day and just kind of message you send out to anyone trying to do basketball, of course.
I would say the biggest thing about being a GA, you have to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a men's manager, I'll be honest, I was not the best organization. I
Mm-hmm.
moved very sporadically and on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So with the women's team, obviously, like Coach Chambers is big on organization.
Mm-hmm.
And like I had the work ethic and everything, but it was just the fact that I wasn't organized. So then like I started taking the time just to write my ideas down and everything. Cause she even told me, she's like, hey, start writing your ideas down so that way you're not coming to my office 8 to 10 times a day telling me something different, like every 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Just write everything down, then come to me at the end of the day, and then we could talk. And a lot of things like I sat there and talk about was like changing up the our apparels. Like as you see what I'm wearing right now, like this is an apparel that I brought into the program,
Mm-hmm.
and just like as well as that, but just always the best thing I could say is like try giving you your all because the game is gonna reward you at the end. That's what
Mm-hmm.
my high school coach told me when I was a manager.
Oh wow.
He told me that Coach Rose, St. Raymond's freshman team. 2014 when we
Mhm.
won the St. Raymond's freshman year city championship. He told me this in trials in 2014. He said, "You're a manager. The game is gonna reward you." Like I was cool with all my guys that played freshman basketball. None of them played D1, so I can always say to them, "Hey, I played D1 before you did."
I did not know that.
Yes, but my high school coach told me it's like the game will reward you. He
Mhm.
said, "Never ever doubt the game. You come in, do what you gotta do every day. The game will reward you." And that's my advice I would give to anybody. It's like, you come in, do what you gotta do. Like Coach P played me on senior day. That was the game rewarded me for my work ethic for 4 years.
Yeah, no, and obviously now with you being a GA, that's another way of kind of rewarding you, kind of getting to that next step. I think for me, one of the messages, kind of similar to what you said, I got was from one of our assistant coaches, Coach Tim from Cardinal Hayes. He said, whatever job you're doing, try to give it 110%.
Hmm.
I don't care if you're a janitor. If you're a janitor, you better be there early and be there late cleaning up. I don't care if you're like a sandwich worker, you better make the best sandwich. Like whatever you're doing, put 110% because you never know who's watching.
Hmm.
So obviously, similar to you, kind of just work hard and it will reward you. You know, you'll get rewarded. You never know who's watching, and obviously with you, Coach P has been watching, Coach Chambers, Coach Clues, and you kind of been blessed so far with your journey. And again, I hope you guys definitely go far. Not just go far, but win it all for Max. And obviously, I hope you kind of reach the goals that you've been talking about. 'Cause I remember we used to talk when you were in high school, kind of, dreams and goals. So I really hope you reach there. And I kind of am thankful for you, high school working with you being here now. Because I don't want to say if it wasn't for you, but definitely you had a big influence of me coming here. So obviously, kind of full circle being here. So
I appreciate that, hobby. Hey, don't forget, like I may not be with the men's team, but like I'm still close ties with them now.
no, yeah, for sure. And I
And I
definitely,
gotta see us like we both gotta we have to do it. Like
yeah, this year has been kind of great with the men's and women's. How great they've been performing. The first, I think it was 21 season. It's like 21 season kind of for both sides, and then being in first place, I'm really happy about that, and I appreciate you being on the show. And I know next week we'll probably do another one. Not sure who the guest is yet, still figuring it out, but same place, same channel. Appreciate you guys.